You know what time it is. It is Sipping with Sue time. I am Szu-Moy, and if you are joining us for the first time, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Instagram. Hi, IG folks. And we are chatting with real people doing real things extraordinarily. And I am here with Krystal Hess, the CEO. She doesn't like to say CEO, but CEO is just badass. She's a CEO and founder of Motorcycle Missions. So cheers, TGIF. It is the weekend. It's time to let our hair down. It's time
Cheers.
to it was
Yes,
a
ma'am. It is Friday.
yes, it was a long week. It was a tough week. So cheers, you guys. What are you guys drinking out there? Cheers. What do you have? She's got tequila. I've got spiked kombucha, and it's
Tequila.
pretty. I made it pretty.
Except I don't usually drink it this way, but I had to fancy it up. So I've got like the ball of ice in a fancy glass.
I love it. I love it. So we are welcoming again Krystal Hess from Motorcycle Missions. And welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a while since I've seen you, and I'm so glad that you are here to join us to talk about motorcycle and mental health because May is a lot of things, a lot of different things going on for the month of May. But one of the big ones, especially for me, and I know for you as well, is it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going to talk a little bit about motorcycles and mental health. And so before we get started and roll into all of that, can you give us just a little bit on your background, what you do, just so folks can get acquainted with you, where you're from, where you're living, what's going on, because you've got a nice, colorful background. So,
Oh, thank you. This is just artwork that I really like. Yes. So I'm Krystal. I am not the CEO, but I am the founder and director
she's
of
the
Motorcycle
CEO.
Missions. It's just such a stuffy term. Um, I just don't think that name belongs in mental health or in the nonprofit space. That's me though. I guess I'm old fashioned, or maybe I'm new
Gotcha.
fashioned. I don't know. But I will say, my journey with mental health has been kind of a different one. I grew up in Canada and was in, kind of experienced a typical bullying growing up, and then got into an abusive marriage, which um, wasn't serving me. And so I was approaching 30 and realizing that life was really just not going the way I wanted it to. Plus, I hate the cold, and I was living in Canada because that's where I was born. So I had a dual citizenship burning in the back pocket, and I was like, now's my time to explore and find myself. And what I did was found myself in the loving arms of another man, but he was very, very broken. And unfortunately, I did not know until it was too late. So he experienced kind of like a mental break, uh, and attempted to take his life one night. And he involved me in this activity, which was very traumatic. He lived to see another day. We were no longer allowed to see each other just because of the circumstances of his mental status. And I was just a nurse from Canada, thinking I was going to be just coming here to work as a nurse. I didn't think of anything different. But this one person that I moved to Texas for was into motorcycles. And growing up, I had a huge, I want to say crush on like Chip Foose and like all the guys in the motor in the car space, like the guys that were doing like the custom shows, and they were converting. I saw Mike McCoy on here, so Mike McCoy knows what I'm talking about. I didn't have a crush on you though, Mike. I didn't. I'm sorry. Um, but I will say that these shows really just helped me realize the type of thing I'm interested in. And I as a Canadian, used to subscribe to Lowrider magazine, which is for like a 15-year-old girl in Canada. You have to like send in the little postcard with your name and fill it out, and then you send it with a check that your mom gave you, and then you wait, 6 months to find out that you got your first magazine. So that's how it used to go. And I used to watch Jessie Combs on her show Extreme 4x4, and all from the comforts of my living room in Canada while freezing my ass off. So coming forward to the US and meeting this gentleman that was way into motorcycles. He had a business. He was building motorcycles. I loved that. I thought that was amazing. I couldn't wait to learn. It was not cars, but it was something, had the same principles and same thing. Just working in a shop with my hands was very appealing. So that relationship was amazing until that mental break. And then I found myself in a storage room with a motorcycle that I had purchased that we were building together with his blood all over it. And in addition to that, just all the smells that go along with like a motorcycle that's been torn down and is leaking everywhere. There's gas, there's oil, there's brake fluid, there's all these different smells. And that's something that I remember still to this day, and that's now 11 years later, almost 12 years later. But in that time, I had to face a decision. It was either, let this defeat me and or take it and do something good with it. I didn't know what direction I was going at all in this space. I was frantic. I was panicking. I thought my life was over. I had just lost almost 60 grand on this project I was doing. I now no longer had the person that was going to finish this motorcycle, because we were working on one together. We had planned on it and we were doing it, and we had one that was about three quarters of the way done. And then this happened. So I was left with a motorcycle that needed to be put together. And unfortunately, he had destroyed it in the process of his downfall. So I was stuck with just a bunch of parts on a pallet. And even the insurance company looked at it and go, we don't even know what to do with this. Like, what do we even do with it? We don't even know what's there. We don't know what parts are there. And all the while I'm learning the terminology, what a swing arm is, like what the brake caliper is, what the brake caliper stay is, what what all these definitions and all of this stuff means. I didn't know anything. So my mom flew down here, helped me go through storage units. We were selling stuff on eBay, delivering things, selling things for half of what I bought them for, just so we could get rid of them and get on with my life. That didn't quite go the way I had planned, though, because I thought it was just going to be over, one and done. And then once the last of the shit was done, I was just going to go back to nursing and, live down by a condo on the river and run every morning and
Happily ever after.
Happily ever after, and meet a cute guy on the trail that runs with his shirt off. That was my plan. But then one thing I noticed, I went to Thailand with my best friend at the time, and then I came back and I met a guy that was like, I see this bike you have on a pallet. He's like, I want to help you with that. I'm actually interested in buying it, but I'm more interested in helping you build it. Mm-hmm. And at the time I had met this gentleman because he had bought a tire machine from me. And I was like, I don't like this guy. I did not like this guy. I actually put him in my phone as tire machine asshole because he bought my tire machine and he was an asshole. So I was like, red flag when he called me about my bike. I wasn't really interested, but I didn't have anybody else knocking on my door willing to help me. So I said yes. And fortunately, he allowed me to spend time in his shop over summer, which was an actual dealership, building this motorcycle back together. And so that's what I did. And so from about June till about August, September, I worked on this bike and built it back together. And when I did, I stood back and I was just like, holy cow, I did it. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing is that we got the insurance money from it. And then eventually I was able to sell it to a gentleman in the Grand Cayman Islands who still has that bike and still enjoys it to this day. So that's really cool.
So I'm gonna stop you there because for the folks that are just joining us and those that are in between, so Motorcycle Missions is a 501c3 organization that assists combat wounded veterans and first responders suffering from PTSD through motorcycle therapy. And that, in a nutshell, was Krystal's story about how motorcycle therapy helped you, correct?
Yeah, and so, how I kind of got into it. Yeah.
How you got into it and stuff. And so give us a little bit about so you were dealing with somebody that, had tried unsuccessfully to commit suicide. And that mm-hmm. in itself has some trauma related to it. It's got, PTSD hanging all over the edges of it and all in between it. And so tell us a little bit about your, those challenges, dealing with it, and then going through that healing process with building the bike back up and that motorcycle therapy.
Yeah. So basically I didn't know that working on this motorcycle was a therapeutic thing for me until it was done and it was gone. Mm-hmm. It was when that project was complete and I was going back to life and going back to nursing that I realized I don't want to stop doing that. I like that. That was good therapy for me because it got me out of my head. It got me working. on something I didn't know anything about, but my focus was directed towards what I was doing and learning the skill, as opposed to what's worrying about what's going on inside of me and what happened, to my ex, or how he is now, or what is my future like. You just don't, you have something that's keeping you preoccupied, that's giving you a purpose, and that just kind of happened accidentally. So once I discovered that was something that I thought I wanted to stay in my life for some time, I just picked up another project, and fortunately for me, the gentleman who owned this dealership and his business partner at the time allowed me to stay and pick up another project. So I just started staying there and working. I never got paid, but I got to learn some amazing skills. So that's really how that happened. But it's really the working with the hands. It's kind of, I don't know. It's exciting. It's just exciting. But then all of a sudden, like, those sights and smells that I associated with the pain and the trauma were becoming less and less traumatizing to me, because when you're in a room after something like that and you have those things that bring you back to the moment when all this stuff was happening.
Triggers.
Yeah. Triggers,
Yes.
and those kinds of things, like those triggers became less and less and less and less and less the more I worked on it, and the more I associated good things with that activity instead of bad things with that activity. So with that in mind, and with the excitement too of like, yes, I'm learning like this skill that I've always wanted to learn, and watching Jessie Combs, like I said, like I admired her so much. And then so what I did from that is I started a powder coating business, because I was working on this bike and I was like, damn, $800 to powder coat all this stuff. I could just do it myself. So I bought a powder coating gun from Eastwood. I bought an oven. I got one custom made from a guy that just makes them. Got a sandblaster, and I rented a storage unit. I don't even remember how much I paid for it anymore. I think it was $800 a month for a storage unit that I could specifically powder coat in. Like the manager knew I was powder coating in it. But it was $800, and it had no air conditioning. It was hot as could be in there. And I powder coated out of this place for a while, and I went to all the bike nights before I even knew how to ride a motorcycle. So this is a fact. I didn't know how to ride a motorcycle till after I built one. So
You built one, took it apart, put it back together again, and then said, okay, maybe I'll hop on it.
Right. I didn't hop on that one though. No, I went to a parking lot. I took a little Kawasaki out and YouTubed how to start a motorcycle in the parking lot.
YouTube
took me about 30 minutes to like really trust that when I get on this thing, I'm going to go and I'm going to be safe. And I did well. The only mishap I had was I took it down a side road and decided to put it on the kickstand, and I guess I didn't do it right and it fell over. And so picking it up was really hard by myself for the first time. But I rode it fine. I actually rode it fine. It's just my kickstand skills needed some work. So so I was really proud of myself. But that was one step. And so I started going to bike nights, and I would hand out cards. I started a company called Ricochet Customs, where I was just powder coating motorcycle stuff. So I'd show up at all the bike nights, and I was handing my card out, and still never rode a motorcycle. Was really actually terrified of them, to be honest. Still hadn't ridden one, and so started showing up, started powder coating for everybody, and then slowly I started riding in there and started showing up at bike nights with my own bikes that were powder coated, and then now I ride all the time. So that's passe. But
did I tell you all badass?
She's easily amused, I think.
No, I'm not.
Or impressed.
Cheers.
I guess.
Cheers.
But yeah, so I just started, for me, I was kind of sick of being in a rut and not growing as a person. And so I was like, at this point in my life now, grasping at things to challenge me. If it's offered to me, I'm going to say yes. If this is offered to me, I'm going to say yes. So I was saying yes to all the opportunities except skydiving. I will never do that. So never, ever, ever. But any other opportunities, I just started saying yes. I started powder coating for Ferrari of Austin. I started powder coating for the Ducati dealership, the Cowboy Harley, Central Texas Harley, all the dealerships. I was powder coating for. Created quite a name for myself with powder coating. I still get calls today all the time asking me, are you still powder coating? But there was a point where my shop got flooded. So I opened a new shop down in Onion Creek, which is an area near a river, and it flooded with 5 feet of water. So I lost my shop within a month of opening it, which was great. And
Not so great. No, no.
because I was only there 1 month, I was only
Mhm,
there 1 month before this
mhm,
happened. My insurance hadn't kicked in yet, because if anybody knows, if you get flood insurance on a property, it doesn't kick in for 90 days because FEMA has a rule about that. They don't want you seeing a hurricane coming and then going, oh,
mhm,
now I'll get insurance. No. So I was not covered. Even though I had purchased the insurance, it had
mhm,
not come into effect. So I lost everything. So
mm.
so then there was that kick in the, you know, crotch. But anyway,
Yes.
so down the road from there, I was like, I'm not letting this defeat me. I'm not letting it defeat me. I'm gonna just, this is a bump in the road.
Mhm,
So what I did was I started powder coating up at Tech Shop. But actually, going back to that, I'll tell you a little cool thing is I ended up getting insurance paid for because somebody came and looted my shop and stole everything. And I did have theft insurance.
okay.
So
Silver lining. Silver
little
lining.
blessings. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, because actually they broke in through the vent fans that I had for my
Oh, wow.
fume extraction. Yeah, they broke in through there and just came in, and they were construction workers. Like, I know who did it. They were construction workers who were actually renting. They were using that place as storage for all the construction equipment to build high
Mhm,
rises
mhm,
downtown.
mhm,
So anyway, I started powder coating at Tech Shop, doing that, and then they closed and shut down because they went out of business. And I was like, this is my sign. I had
mhm.
motorcycle missions in my brain for a while, and because I mean, I can't keep it a secret how helpful the motorcycle industry as a whole, not just the motorcycle itself, but the motorcycle industry and all the people in it.
Mhm.
Just the entire thing encompasses like this
Ah,
great.
there's a so can y'all hear Crystal or can y'all hear me? Somebody's saying no sound.
Oh,
Oh, hopefully they can hear us. I don't know. Um, but
is it that one person that doesn't have sound?
I don't know. I don't know. Let us know if you can hear her or me.
Oh, I
Only
got
me.
somebody says they've got us both.
Okay. Okay. Tanner
So
says
maybe
only you. I don't know. Okay. We'll keep rolling. So it's not
okay.
just the motorcycles. It wasn't just so motorcycle missions was in your head this entire time. And I know that one of the ways that you guys help our vets and first responders is through throttle therapy with, i.e. racing and getting on the track and stuff. But your program, again, also involves a whole lot of other things. The three different arms of motorcycle missions, if you will, which is the welding and then the motorcycle builds, which is that hands-on that you've been talking about this whole entire time. So give us a little bit about those three different arms and how they're working through the different again, this is May mental health month, mental health awareness month, and those mental health issues.
All right. So Motorcycle Missions was founded based on all my feelings about just what I wanted to do to help people. It was either me being a
Hmm.
missionary overseas in Africa and doing nursing stuff, or I decided this is where I'm supposed to be. So Motorcycle Missions was born. And we started out with a build mentorship program. So like where we teach the vets how to work on the bike. So that encompasses, all encompassing is metal shaping, welding, and fabricating. So we actually offer welding classes. We're just starting to do add on some fabricating classes and metal shaping classes. So they can come to our shop. They can use, we have 4 Lincoln Electric welders, TIG and MIG. They can come learn in a day just the basics. And then after that, they can come back for more training after that. But we get them started somewhere. So that's the welding program. And then we have the throttle therapy program, which encompasses 6 different kinds of riding. We started with motocross, but we
Hmm.
now have land speed, adventure bike, track days, mini MotoGP, uh, dirt bikes, and we're starting a Gold Star Kids program. So we've had a couple Gold Star boys out to our Gold Star Day at a local track here, where we get Gold Star kids, pairing them with veterans in our program for a day of riding dirt bikes, which is
So
kind of fun.
awesome.
So
So awesome.
so not only do we give the veterans the experience firsthand of like the riding and the welding and the wrenching, because it is very therapeutic. It gets them gets them out of their head. It gets them wrenching, focusing on that one task. And then, when you're riding, they studies that Harley Davidson has said that like riding a motorcycle is equivalent to, drinking a cup of coffee and having, the alertness. So you get the alertness, but then you're also getting, I think they said lower blood pressure, higher heart rate, but you're sleeping better at night.
Mm-hmm.
And your focus is better. And these guys come home after a day of riding and they've ridden all day without thinking about their problems because they're too focused on the road, and then they sleep like babies because they're just so wore out because they had such a crazy day riding motorcycles. It's great. So there's a lot of takeaways. Those are just a couple examples, but I mean, if you talk to a lot of our vets, there's all sorts of different things that they get from the riding and the wrenching portion of it. So that is in itself very, very, very therapeutic. And we offer all of that for free through our programs for our vets. And then also too, when they're done, maybe a welding class or a build mentorship program, they're welcome to come back and participate in other classes, or they're welcome to come back and mentor. So we actually get a lot of our vets who've gone through our program, like I'll use Matt for an example. Matt went through build 10 in our program, and now he teaches welding classes because he has that skill. He had that skill before he came to Motorcycle Missions. He enjoyed a bike build. He's also done the motocross. We're trying to get him to, he has done land speed, actually. He's done the land speed, and we're trying to get him on going on a track day. But he's decided he wants to come back and teach welding. So not only now has he gone through the program, but he's also now mentoring the next group of guys coming through.
Paying it forward.
Paying it forward. But it's therapeutic to all of them, just like pairing a veteran who's in our motocross program to a Gold Star kid. That gives them purpose. So it's not just about the ride. There's all the medical benefits of the ride, and there's the medical benefits of the wrenching, but then there's also the camaraderie that comes with just getting a group of guys together. And it's amazing what you see happen at the beginning when they're all first meeting to the very end, when they're packing up and they're ready to go, or when they've just done a 6-month motorcycle build together. You see, I've seen some of our guys, two of our vets have daughters about the same age, and then the next thing you know, they're doing daddy-daughter dates at the park together. And so it's an all-encompassing thing. And when guys go through our program, they become alumni. We keep in touch with them. We invite them to all the events. We want them to participate, and all of this is free for them. I don't want them to pay a dime because this is what's going to get them out. If they're having to pay for this, it's very expensive. It's a lot of overhead and all that. So where a guy might need to put $5,000 up front just to get an experience like this, we're like, here, we've got this. This is what our donors and our sponsors and our partners have helped us accomplish. So come ride our bikes, come wear our gear, come get our instruction, and you pay $0. Yeah. So, and I know that a lot of the guys have expressed that's been very important and very helpful in getting them, out of the house and motivated and doing other things other than video games or, picking up the bottle or whatever it might be. We've got a lot of people coming from different backgrounds, different life stories, and then who knows what the military threw at them, or if they're a firefighter or whatever. One of my vets, actually one of my first responders, went off his meds when he started with Motorcycle Missions. He no longer needed his meds. I have one vet, and this always breaks my heart when he says it, but he said, if Motorcycle Missions was around just 1 year sooner, me and my wife may still be together. Oh. And I was like, well, that's heartbreaking. Yeah. But so I mean, opening a shop up, giving the guys the skills and the materials and the purpose and the mission, because they have a mission when they're serving. That's their mission, and they have their people that they are doing that mission with. And when they come home, they lose the people and the mission, and then they come home to people who just don't get where they've been.
Mhm.
And some people come home to nobody. There are a lot of people who just don't have family. It
Yep.
is shocking.
Yeah.
Um, so
So Sandy over here is saying that just being around one another at the events and the rides helps too. And personally, she's not ever been through the program, but she tries to stay in touch with you guys with motorcycle missions and help where she can. Which kind of segues also into we keep saying you guys.
it's girls too,
We keep saying
everybody, just so
you
everybody
guys.
knows.
We said you guys playing video games, you guys doing this, you guys doing that. But I do know, as a female veteran myself, that you have also had female veterans and probably female first responders as well go through your program. And so tell us, is there an upcoming female build?
You know what? I don't have a time for one, but I have one in mind.
Okay.
So, and it would be Austin. It would probably likely be Austin based.
Uh-huh.
So, I do have something in mind. I have a bike sitting in our shop right now with that in mind. So, we'll see.
Well, Austin is still kind of far from San Antonio, where I'm at, and I would love to be a part of the program too, one of these days. So
You will. I promise you
one
will.
of these days, I would love to be in there wrenching and learning how to do, learning how to take that thing apart and put it back together to some award-winning, amazing build.
Well,
So we'll
and
see.
going back, and I use this kind of analogy, or
Mhm,
it's not a metaphor. It's an analogy. Like you take a piece of shit, broken down, rusty, unwanted motorcycle, right? So I actually just had a father of someone who lost their son.
mm,
Um, and he has a nonprofit. He just reached out to me and said, "This motorcycle is donated to my son's organization, the one that's in his name.
mhm.
I don't know what to do with it. Can you help?" And I was like, "Yes, I can
Mhm.
help, but you're doing the work. So
Oh, wow.
get 5 vets together, bring that
Mhm,
bike to the shop on this day, and we'll treat this like a real motorcycle build. We're just going to help them get it up and running so they can donate it or do whatever they need to do."
oh, that's
But
awesome.
but I was telling him, I said, this is, picture this motorcycle very much like this veteran over here. It's
Mhm,
beat up, it's unwanted, it doesn't work, it's creaky, it's smelly, it's whatever. And then you get you get people together to work on it and restore it, and you're taking all the rust off, you're smacking the grease off, you're doing all the things to beautify it. And as they're working on the motorcycle, they start seeing it become shinier and shinier and shinier and prettier, and now it's something, and they get excited, and they're like, and they actually are the ones that did the work.
mhm,
So they have that sense of accomplishment, and in the end they're staring at a beautiful motorcycle that they built, and it's amazing. And then we take it and we present it to, bike shows in Sturgis or in
mhm,
Chicago, or we've won a national championship where our veterans got to take pride in winning a national championship. Do you know
mhm,
how hard it is for anyone to win this one national championship? And they did it. And it's amazing. You give them the tools, you give them the space, the place, the tools, and you just sit back and watch what happens. And that motorcycle that's beautiful and shiny like a new penny is very much like them
mhm,
now. After the build process, they were rusty and unwanted, and they didn't know, they weren't working very well and creaky,
mhm,
and then all of a sudden they're transforming, and then here it is. And then you
mhm,
watch their almost like their personality changing, over the course of that time. And then you have, in front of you somebody who's just like, this was cool, this is awesome, and like, when can we do the next one?
mhm.
And those guys are the ones that are welcome to come back and mentor the next group, so they can come and hang out and check on the guys or
Mhm.
girls that are
It's a
doing the
it's
next
a full circle
build.
thing. Yeah, for
A
sure.
full circle thing. So
Mhm.
when they're done a build, when they're done a welding class, we don't say bye, we say,
See you
see you next
later.
time,
And
we've
yeah,
got
see you
this
later. Come
coming,
back.
invite your friends, please bring more people. And
Mhm.
so that's what it's all about. And really for me, it's like the joy that I get out of it is seeing the healing take place inside our shop. It's quite amazing. it's quite amazing to witness. So, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So apparently people cannot hear you on Instagram. So we'll figure that out. For the folks that are on Instagram and having trouble hearing Krystal, don't worry. We will make sure that this is punched back up over, and you can just do the rewatch later. But how can folks get involved as a participant or as a volunteer for motorcycle missions?
So we have we have a website.
Mhm.
So our website has a lot of resources on it. You can go on there and look at kind of what we've done and what we're doing, but then you can also donate. There's a big giant donate button. I think it's nice and bright red, so you can't really miss it.
Yes.
But then there's also sign up to build, sign up to weld, sign up to ride, and then there's another button that says sign up to volunteer. So
Mhm.
if you have a skill, like you're a welding instructor, or you can do grant writing, or maybe you're an accountant and you can do our taxes for us, because right now we pay for it. So if you can
Mhm.
do our taxes, if you're can
Any
provide
accountants
legal
out there, any
counsel.
accountants that can do taxes for motorcycle missions, they're in high demand.
Yes. So so yeah, you can go on there and volunteer. I mean, we
Mhm.
have endless things. Everybody at Motorcycle Missions, including myself, we're all volunteer. None of us
Mhm.
take a salary. And so we do get overwhelmed. We do have a lot going on, and we all have families and events and mortgages to pay and jobs to go to on the
Mhm.
regular. Um, so yes, anybody who volunteers for anything. The one thing I will ask, please do not volunteer if you do not follow through with it, because I get a lot of people going, I'll help, and then 3
And
years
then
later
nothing. Yeah.
of
So,
asking
yeah.
of reaching out to them when we
Uh-huh.
need help and them not ever helping. That happens a lot. So please
Yeah.
don't sign up unless you actually mean it. But that's how we do it. But yeah,
So make
any
sure, so head on
monetary.
over to, yeah, so for motorcycle missions, if you want to be a participant, if you want to volunteer, head on over to their website, which is motorcyclemissions.org, correct?
Correct.
Motorcyclemissions.org. And you can hit any of the buttons, you can donate, you can become a participant, and there's a how to volunteer or volunteer button as well. But make sure if you're a volunteer, please be a committed volunteer. Awesome, awesome. Well, Krystal, I thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me during this very important month of awareness. I mean, mental health is not just highlighted in May. I talk about it all the time on this particular platform. And actually, last week I was feeling overwhelmed, so I was like, I'm not even coming on because I'm overwhelmed. Yeah. So mental health is a big thing. It's a big thing to me, and I love what you're doing. You know that our family loves what you're doing, big time, and it has a positive and wonderful effect and to so many people, and it's doing goodness. So I thank you for coming on, and I appreciate it. I haven't seen you in a hot minute, so hugs.
Thank you,
And by the
Hess.
way, yes, we had the same shirt on, and she was like, "No way, I got to change." But I mean, we were twinning. It was cute. It was cute. But is there anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, yes, but I'm not sure we have enough time.
We have all the time in the world. I mean,
Well,
Instagram
okay,
people can't
no,
hear
I
you,
mean,
but I mean, that's fine. Go to YouTube, you guys.
right. Well, no, I just think you haven't really talked about Moto Up or anything like that. Maybe this isn't the time. I don't know. Oh, Sandy's saying carry the load. Oh, okay. I will say something. So this weekend is Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
Um, Motorcycle missions, and actually, this is a way that you can help out. I'm just gonna shut Instagram off because there's nobody there. Um,
Okay.
you
Bye, you
can help.
guys.
Bye. You can help. You can help. With our fundraising efforts for Memorial Day weekend, we are partnering with a group called Carry the Load. And Carry the Load, their mission is to make sure we don't forget about the true meaning of Memorial Day. Because it seems, especially in this day of age where we're so materialistic and, we're always about that sale. So to me, it's really disappointing when I see companies promoting a sale on Memorial Day.
Mhm.
I mean, it's okay if they're doing it as long as they honor what the weekend is about. And I'll give you a, for instance, the studio, which is where Motorcycle Missions gets a lot of its patches and challenge coins and things. They sent an email, promotional email today, telling the true meaning of Memorial Day. And then they followed it up with, for our Patriots, we are giving you a 50% off, whatever. That to me is awesome. I hate it when, there's a mattress sale on Memorial Day, but we won't get
by
into.
the way, there's still a mattress sale going on Memorial Day.
I'm
And there's
sure there is somewhere.
there is.
But what I want to say is, instead of that, how about you donate to Motorcycle Missions? Because we're actually taking that money and we're doing really amazing, good stuff with it. So carry the load. We have on our, we should have on our Facebook page and on our Instagram, especially over the weekend. If you don't see anything on there now, you will over the next few days. Please go on there, donate to our team, because we have a team of folks that are doing carry the load, and we're basically trying to bring back the true meaning of Memorial Day, and we're all a bunch of people from coast to coast are descending upon Dallas. Like, actually, there's been relays, like right now, people walking. They've been walking since April to
That's
Dallas
awesome.
to raise awareness for, to remind people what Memorial Day means. And the final closing ceremony is this Monday at Revachon Park in Dallas. So if you can come out to that, I think it's free for the general public. If you want the perks, you have to pay for it, but I think it's free for the general public. But it's a very sombering, eye-opening weekend. If you have kids, bring them out, show them what Memorial Day actually means.
Yes.
Please.
It's not a barbecue, nor is it a sale.
No, it's not a barbecue. It's not a sale. It's not fireworks. It's none of that. It's like, a lot of people have sacrificed for our freedom, and that's what it's about. And let's not forget, because
it's honoring them. It's celebrating them. It's, they've paved the way and they've come before us so that we can celebrate the freedoms that we have, outside of the freedom of having a sale and having a weekend where you can barbecue and the pools are open, et cetera, et cetera. It's a little bit more important than that. And there's a lot of things that go along with that. Armed Forces Day was last weekend or last Saturday. And so Armed Forces Day is to celebrate our active duty. To my son, to my cousins, to all of the folks that are active duty now, thank you. Memorial Day is
same Red Friday too. Remember, if any of you have ever seen people wearing red shirts and it says RED on the back, it usually means remember everyone deployed. So we have a lot of family and friends that are still out there,
that are fighting the fight. Yeah, that are fighting the fight that we in austere locations that are never talked about.
Exactly. So if you are partaking in a barbecue, when you're feeling guilty for it, just go to our page and hit donate. If you and donate to Motorcycle Missions so we can keep doing the amazing work that we do, because motorcycles are expensive. There's a lot of overhead owning a shop and welding equipment and all that. It's expensive. So I didn't choose the cheapest nonprofit to run, but so far so good. Especially thanks to Moto Up, we've been able to stay afloat. So yes, thank you.
Well, we're gonna visit you, and we're gonna make sure that we visit you over the summer, probably during the hottest time of the year. That makes the most sense, right? And we're gonna make sure that we take some videos and show everybody what you're doing and what we've done to help you do what you're doing, because that's a nice, fun story. But we'll save that for another time. Definitely, wanted to highlight that. Yes, for Memorial Day, it's remembering those that have served, and made the ultimate sacrifice, and that's what we're celebrating. So thank you to our active duty members last week. We are celebrating and honoring all of our folks that have gone before us for Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Then you can thank me in November.
There you go.
That's my day.
And that's just it. Let's remember, this is Memorial Day. Veterans Day is in November. They are different. Don't get them mixed up.
I know. It's so much fun. So speaking of which, before I let you go, and again, thank you so much, I like to do with all of my guests a just for fun speed round. So are you ready to get started?
Okay. Sure.
You're like,
yes.
Okay. So favorite motorcycle that you've ridden?
Oh, Oh, okay. It was a Softail that Roland Sands built. And I can't say that it would be one that I could ride daily, but it was for me in that moment a
Mhm.
cool ass bike to ride. I can't remember what he called it. If anyone is a motorcycle person or not, you can Google who Roland Sands is. Roland Sands Design, phenomenal motorcycle industry um, pioneer, I guess you could
Mhm.
say. He's done really some amazing things. Builds amazing motorcycles. He's got a team that he's a big company now. Big
Mhm.
company. I rode one of his bikes. It was here in Austin. I thought I was pretty cool when I rode it. That was still one of my favorite memories. And then I also rode one of his bikes, custom bikes, actually down the PCH. Uh,
Ooh,
yeah, that was also really cool.
nice.
So
Nice.
yes, yes, very custom, very nice, very fast. Not my bike. Got to ride it down the PCH. It's pretty
Very
awesome.
cool. Yes, very
Yes.
cool. Okay, so I'm gonna make you choose favorites amongst all of your different motorcycle builds that we are at what number right now for motorcycle builds?
Okay, so we have 15 on the list, but we're not allowed to talk about it. We're about to
Okay.
announce 16.
Okay, so
So
for all
15 we
so
can't talk about because it's a top secret build. But
okay, so 14. So out of your 14
yeah.
builds, we're gonna make you play favorites. Mama needs to play favorites. What is your favorite build that's been completed through the program?
Everybody says two because of the championship we won,
Hmm.
but I have to say the first one.
Okay.
Because the first one, a guy named Eric van Sloon from the
Hmm.
Netherlands
Hmm.
now owns that motorcycle and he loves it. And
That's
he sends me
cool.
pictures of it all the time. Him riding it, him out, wherever. He just posted one on Instagram just like earlier, like an hour ago, of the bike that the vets built that he's
Mhm.
riding in the Netherlands, like under a windmill, like the one you see, like the Dutch windmill.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
the last picture he showed me, it's so cool. I'm like, man, but that bike is what set
yeah.
us.
Hmm.
That's what that was the foothold for what we're doing,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
worked. And
That's awesome.
that bike is what allowed us to show the world what we're doing. Now help us do that more. And so, and it's still out there being loved and enjoyed, and he loves it. And he just bought a pair of motorcycle missions Vans, and he wears them
That's badass,
like
badass, badass.
in the Netherlands, right? I just think it's really cool. It turned out amazing. It turned out great. It's a lot of
Mhm.
people's favorite. Build number two
But
is a
but
close
your but
second
your
because of the
favorite. That was
history.
that was the question. Is your favorite,
My
not other
favorite, yeah.
people's. Your
Yeah,
favorite.
well, the people though, Porterfield, the second one that we won the
Mhm.
championship with, is probably the people's favorite. But
Okay.
my favorite, I think, is this bike, just because I just think it's cool and it was the beginning.
Hmm.
Um, and that's it. And I've just loved saying that was number one, and look how cool it was. And look
Yes.
at number 14, and look how cool it is. Like we didn't
Hmm.
miss a step in the middle. So, and
That's
I'm very
amazing.
proud. I'm very proud of the guys and girls that built that. 'Cause build eight was all build eight, build nine, all
9.
females,
Hmm.
all of them, all veterans, all
I
female,
know. That
and
was
they
amazing.
killed it. They killed it.
Mhm.
And now that bike is sitting at the Rumble On head office.
Yes, that got auctioned off, last year.
Not
Mhm.
auctioned off. Rumble On just said, "How much for that bike? I want it.
Oh, was it?
It
Oh, okay, okay,
must
okay.
be. It must
Gotcha.
be in our office. It must be in our shop." So now it's in display at
Okay, so
the
not
head
auction,
office,
but bought right off our display in the in the suite.
right out of Moto Up to Ride
Rumble
Now,
on.
or sorry, Rumble On in Dallas. So it's
That's so
sitting
awesome.
pretty in there, right in their lobby.
So
So
good. Goodness, goodness. All right, best motorcycle memory to date. And it can encompass anything. It could be anything that has to do with motorcycle, but what's your best memory to date?
okay, riding down the PCH
Mhm.
was probably the coolest motorcycle memory because isn't that amazing? And it was on a bike.
Mhm.
So I rode Roland's bike from LA south, but rode a bike. I got to pick up a bike from Arlen Ness Motorcycles in San Diego, and I
Mhm.
rode that down to LA. And that was incredible. It's just
Very cool.
absolutely incredible. And then when I took Roland's, further, I was riding that mostly lane splitting, which I've never done before, which was
Because
absolutely
you can't do it in Texas. It's
nail
not.
biting, nerve wracking shit. And it was hot. It was summer
Mm.
there. It was hot, and I was stuck in traffic. And I'm learning how to lane split on a bike that Indian gave me to ride. So that was awesome. It was, again, like I said, grabbing at opportunities.
Hmm.
Yes, I'll do it, and then I just find the way to do it. Did it. Now it's a memory, and I can talk about it. It was great. Um,
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
I came home safe. That was the
There you
biggest thing.
go. There you go. That's all that matters. Because again, in
Yeah.
Texas, it is illegal. You're not supposed to be doing that. But in California, you can do it. So
Although we should be
awesome.
doing it in Texas. We should. If any
If
lawmakers are
hold
listening.
on, if the drivers in Texas can drive right, sure. I'll just leave it at that. I'll just let that marinate. All right. So moving
Okay.
on. The last question. If you were given $1 million right now for your program, what would you do with it first? What would you do first with it?
Okay. So I would go buy us land and a shop, maybe. That's
Ooh, is
so
that like a tough one? She's like, wait, what?
well, okay, because all right, so like I'm in the business mindset, right? I'm thinking,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay, long term taxes. Da, 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 da. I mean, we're in a weird economy right now. If you were
Mhm,
going to give me $1 million, I'd probably put it in the bank, sit on it for a bit until we had an actual plan and figured out what our impact and reach would
mhm.
be
Okay.
for using that money. So the responsible thing to do would be to analyze and figure out the most responsible ways to spend $1 million. What Krystal wants is a salary for actually 3 people, because we're for a lot of people who don't know about motorcycle missions day-to-day operations, we're pretty labor intensive. We're extremely labor intensive.
Mhm,
So maybe it would go to help that. Maybe it would obviously go to buying more motorcycles and opening up more programs in more states.
mhm. Okay.
So that we can duplicate what we're doing in Texas everywhere else.
Mhm.
Because we actually have a waiting list. Um, I know our build
That's a
mentorship
good problem to
program.
have. Good problem to have, right?
Yeah, our build mentorship program, last time I checked, we had
Mhm,
500 people on a waiting list just to be involved, and that's coast to coast. So we have people in Oregon waiting to be
mhm,
involved. We have people in Idaho. We have people in Maryland. We have people in Virginia. Um, yeah, like New Mexico. They all want to be involved some way, but we can't reach them because we don't have the manpower out there. So I mean, it would be amazing to be able to get everyone who has ever signed up into a class, into a program somehow. $1 million would help with that, even if it
yeah.
means me giving them a plane ticket to Austin so that they can come experience it. And then
Mhm,
maybe we turn it into, hey, this isn't just uh, maybe it's more of a program where you come stay in Austin for a month and we take you through all of these programs. I don't know.
mhm.
It could turn, I mean, $1 million, it could get us far-ish.
Yes.
$1 million
I
today is
feel
not
like
as
I
much
feel
as
it.
it was 10 years ago,
Well,
but
yeah, but I feel yeah,
um,
I feel that you would take it and definitely do goodness with it.
I
So,
would do responsible things with it,
mhm,
all with you guys in mind, because it is definitely um, the mental health sector. I think it's still, especially with our vets, like for instance, somebody I know had an IED injury that was classified as not service related. But like, I don't know how many IED injuries you get going to the mailbox in your neighborhood, but
right.
there's a broken system. So if we can
Mhm,
help out and like fill the gaps where that system has failed, and then I think we're doing our job, even if it is motorcycles and teaching them skills. Even doing a welding class has gotten some of our guys interested in doing that as a career, and they've gone
mhm,
on and registered, at our local college to take welding classes. So sky's the limit. We could reach a lot of people, make a big difference in a lot of families, in a lot of
mhm,
homes, and a lot of lives just through that funding. But
mhm.
um
I
that would be
agree. I
amazing.
agree.
That would be
Yes.
amazing.
I agree. We'll throw it out there and hopefully one day we will have like the mini motorcycle missions and across the state. So that would be fabulous. But thank you so much
Absolutely.
for joining me. It's like I said, it's been a little bit of a well, last month. I saw you last month, but I don't see you often enough. So it's great to see you. It's great to have you on. And thank you so much again for coming on. For everybody else, celebrate your Memorial Day, however you're going to do it. But please celebrate and honor with those folks in mind that have gone before us. So cheers. Have
Buy
a
that
great
mattress next weekend, not this weekend.
have a great
Okay.
have a great weekend, you guys, and we'll see you next week potentially. I'm
Bye.
still trying to work that out, but take care, enjoy it, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Szu-Moy.